Imagine the most amazing temple you've ever seen, right there in Jerusalem. It gleams in the sunlight, surrounded by the bustling life of ancient Israel. That magnificent structure was said to have been built by none other than King Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived and, according to many accounts, the richest man in history. Even today, we still talk about King Solomon. His name echoes through time, etched into the stories of faith, legend, and historical inquiry. He's that kind of legendary. And now, in a groundbreaking revelation, a group of archaeologists from Israel claims they found King Solomon's tomb. Can you believe it? After over 3,000 years of speculation and searching, this sacred resting place may finally have been uncovered. So what kind of treasures and ancient clues about the past did they find? Join us as we dive into this incredible mystery and uncover what secrets King Solomon's tomb might hold. King Solomon's tomb is shaping up to be a historic discovery for the ages. 4 generations, people have hunted for this elusive site. Many believed it was just a story, a tale passed down through the Bible and oral traditions. Since nobody had found it yet, it remained cloaked in legend. But now, everything has changed. A team of skilled archaeologists and treasure hunters, led by the brilliant and passionate Dr. Eilat Mazar, has made a discovery that might rewrite the history of ancient Jerusalem. They believe they've pinpointed the final resting place of King Solomon, hidden for millennia within the ancient walls of the city of David. This wasn't Dr. Mazar's first exploration in the area. Back in 1986, she discovered a very old gatehouse near the city of David. At that time, she couldn't say for sure whether it was connected to Solomon, so she chose to stay quiet about it. Years passed. Then, in 2009, Dr. Mazar returned to the site, her curiosity reignited. She began to dig once more around the gatehouse and, to her amazement, unearthed a trove of ancient artifacts scattered throughout the area. What she found was like a time capsule from the 10th century BC, the very period when King Solomon was believed to have ruled. With these new clues, she revisited the gatehouse and concluded it was likely constructed during the time of King Solomon's reign. It was a stunning revelation. But why should we trust Dr. Mazar's findings? Dr. Eilat Mazar was no ordinary scientist. She was a brilliant and deeply thoughtful archaeologist with a profound respect for the scientific method. Her favorite saying, "We must let the stones speak," perfectly captured her investigative spirit. She believed that artifacts and ruins held stories waiting to be uncovered, and she was committed to listening to them with the utmost care and diligence. Her work transcended academia. Herschel Shanks, a respected American lawyer and biblical scholar, wrote a glowing article about her in 2007 for Biblical Archaeology Review, praising her professional skills with high regard. According to him, no one could doubt her abilities as an archaeologist. Mazar was often called a biblical scientist, a title that accurately reflected her unique approach. Unlike many of her peers who strictly separated religion from science, Mazar embraced both. She saw no contradiction between the Bible and scientific inquiry. In fact, she believed they could enrich one another, offering two perspectives on the same truths. Her open-minded approach was refreshing, especially in a field where religious interpretation and hard science often clashed. Among the numerous treasures unearthed at the site were over 30 bulli, small clay seals once used to close important documents. These humble items had the power to unlock a deep understanding of ancient bureaucratic life. One bulla, in particular, caught Dr. Mazar's eye. It sparked an unusual level of excitement in a field known for its academic restraint. This tiny artifact, inscribed in ancient Hebrew, hinted at connections to the royal household. Her excitement stood in stark contrast to the skepticism that often greeted such bold archaeological claims, especially when tied to biblical figures. It was clear that Mazar's profound expertise was key to the breakthrough. What made this discovery even more remarkable was that the team hadn't even been looking for Solomon's tomb specifically. Their mission had originally been to locate King David's palace. But while digging through the oldest parts of Jerusalem, they stumbled upon something colossal, a massive wall segment more than 2,110 feet long. Locally known as the Cave of the Kings, this enigmatic structure was full of mystery. Who had built it? What was its purpose? The team was determined to find out. The segment they uncovered included a gatehouse, a corner tower, and a royal structure, elements that suggested something much greater than a mere defensive wall. The team began to suspect that the structure might have belonged to a temple or a palace. Radiocarbon dating placed the construction in the same era as King Solomon's reign. For the first time, archaeologists had found a structure from that period that could match the biblical descriptions of King Solomon's buildings in Jerusalem. Still, The question lingered: could this massive complex have been built by another king? Dr. Mazar addressed this directly. She explained that during the 10th century BC, there were very few monarchs in the region capable of undertaking such a grand project. Essentially, the only viable candidates were King David and King Solomon. The Bible tells us that King David, famous for defeating Goliath, was Solomon's father. It was Solomon who built the first temple on the Temple Mount. Supporting this, ceramics found near the wall helped date the site to the second half of the 10th century BC. Additional discoveries near the gatehouse added credibility to these claims. Large earthenware jars and water storage vessels, one inscribed in Hebrew and believed to belong to a high-ranking government official, were unearthed. Figurines typical of the time were also found, including depictions of four-legged animals and women with exaggerated features likely symbolizing fertility. Jar handles bearing inscriptions referencing kings and noble Hebrew names provided even more tantalizing evidence. These finds were not just important, they were monumental. They offered a deeper glimpse into the society, culture, and governance of ancient Jerusalem. Finding King Solomon's temple has long been the dream of biblical archaeologists. It's akin to stumbling upon a legendary treasure chest filled with history. Recently, excavations uncovered a piece of an ancient wall in Jerusalem's Ophel area, believed to be where King David, Solomon's father, had once established his palace. This find added another crucial puzzle piece to the story, turning ancient legends into historical facts. Once seen by skeptics as a minor tribal leader, Solomon now emerged as a powerful king who presided over a vast and organized kingdom, just as the Bible claimed. The city of David, named after King David, is thought to be the oldest part of Jerusalem, essentially the city's ancestral heart. It's believed to be where King David settled after ousting the Jebusites. Numerous artifacts and structures have been found there, offering a vivid glimpse into early Jerusalem. The area, also known as Wadi Hilweh, is one of the most important archaeological sites in Israel. Its ruins include everything from ancient walls to refined stone buildings, serving as a time machine to the Bronze and Iron Ages. Among the most astonishing finds in the city of David is the Solomon Tunnel, also known as Hezekiah's Tunnel. This remarkable feat of engineering channeled water into the city during times of siege. Originally thought to have been built by King Hezekiah, newer findings suggest it may be even older. Nearby, archaeologists also discovered a Roman-era pool, the Pool of Solomon, and a beautifully constructed set of steps leading to it. These ancient sites are now part of the Jerusalem Walls National Park, managed by the Israel Nature and Parks Authority and the Ir David Foundation, which handles daily operations. Located in Wadi Hilweh, near the Silwan neighborhood in East Jerusalem, this area is crucial for understanding the city's ancient past. Another fascinating discovery is a massive stone building that some believe may be the remains of King David's palace. If true, this structure would further validate the importance of the city of David as the political and spiritual epicenter of ancient Israel. While archaeologists have made incredible strides, they have long struggled to find royal tombs belonging to Solomon or his successors. The reasons are complex. Jerusalem has endured wars, conquests, and natural decay. The city is so large and layered that tombs might be buried under newer construction or lost to history altogether. Despite these obstacles, archaeologists press on, understanding that discovering royal tombs would revolutionize our knowledge of Israel's ancient rulers. It would be a treasure trove of insight into the era's leadership, lifestyle, and values. Even though Solomon's tomb has not yet been conclusively found, what has already been uncovered is awe-inspiring. Then there's the Temple Mount, the sacred site where many believe Solomon's temple once stood. Revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, the Temple Mount remains a place of religious and historical mystery. Until concrete evidence emerges, the secrets of Solomon's temple live on in stories, stones, and scholarly debate. Beneath the old city of Jerusalem lies yet another enigma, Zedekiah's Cave. Also known as Solomon's Quarries, this vast underground cavern of limestone stretches the length of 5 city blocks. It's said to have served as a hideout for King Zedekiah of Judea in the 6th century BC during the Babylonian siege of Jerusalem. According to legend, King Zedekiah fled through the cave's tunnels toward Jericho. A medieval Jewish commentator named Rashi tells a dramatic tale of divine intervention. As Zedekiah tried to escape, God sent a deer to lead Babylonian soldiers directly to the cave's exit, where the fleeing king was captured and blinded. Aside from its biblical connections, Zedekiah's Cave also holds significance for Freemasons, who believe it was once a secret meeting place for the Knights Templar. The site is rumored to contain symbols and hidden messages, though no hard evidence has substantiated these claims. Still, the myth adds to the cave's allure. Before modern archaeology advanced, most theories about Solomon's tomb were speculative. Many believed Mount Zion held the royal graves of the Davidic dynasty, including Solomon. But this idea was based on centuries-old misunderstandings. In truth, King David's tomb is located in the southeastern part of the Old City, below the Temple Mount, an area historically known as the City of David. The Bible, in 1 Kings 2 verse 1, tells us that David was buried in the City of David. It also states that he ruled for 40 years, 7 in Hebron and 33 in Jerusalem, after which Solomon ascended the throne. The confusion about Mount Zion stems from a medieval era. Pilgrims from the Byzantine Empire mistakenly identified the southern hills of today's Old City as Zion. In reality, the city David conquered was located on a lower hill, south of the Temple Mount, originally a Jebusite stronghold. And so, the search continues. With every stone turned, archaeologists move closer to unlocking the full story of King Solomon. The findings already unearthed paint a vivid picture of a thriving, sophisticated ancient society. Whether or not his tomb is ever definitively identified, King Solomon's legacy continues to shape our understanding of history, faith, and human ingenuity. King Solomon wasn't just known for his wealth and building projects, he was also revered for his legendary wisdom. The Bible paints him as a man chosen by God, blessed with an intellect far beyond his years. Perhaps the most famous story showcasing his wisdom is the case of the two women who came to him with a baby, each claiming to be the mother. Solomon's judgment, offering to divide the baby in half to reveal the true mother's compassion, has become a symbol of justice and clever reasoning. His proverbs and teachings are preserved in biblical texts like Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Songs. These writings are filled with philosophical musings, poetic reflections, and practical advice that have shaped Judeo-Christian thought for thousands of years. But Solomon's reign was not without controversy. The Bible notes that while he began his kingship by walking in the footsteps of his father, David, and honoring the God of Israel, he later allowed his many foreign wives to influence him toward idol worship. His kingdom expanded through diplomatic marriages. He famously married the daughter of the Egyptian pharaoh, but these unions also introduced foreign gods and practices. This shift led to internal discontent and, eventually, a fractured kingdom after his death. Despite these failings, his accomplishments, particularly the construction of the First Temple, left an enduring legacy. The temple Solomon built in Jerusalem became the spiritual heart of the Jewish people. It was said to house the Ark of the Covenant, which held the stone tablets of the Ten Commandments. The temple was constructed with enormous precision and grandeur. Gold-covered walls, cedar wood imported from Lebanon, and stone blocks so perfectly cut they needed no mortar. Priests performed rituals, sacrifices, and ceremonies there, and it became the focal point for Jewish worship until its destruction by the Babylonians in 586 BC. Finding evidence of this temple, or any remnants of it, has been extremely difficult. The current political and religious tensions surrounding the Temple Mount prevent thorough excavations in the area. As a result, much of what we know about Solomon's temple comes from biblical descriptions, second-hand accounts, and indirect archaeological evidence. The discovery of any part of that structure, or confirmation of its original location, would be a game-changer for both archaeology and theology. Outside of Jerusalem, Solomon's influence may have extended farther than we once believed. According to ancient records and archaeological hints, he maintained trade networks that reached into Arabia, Africa, and possibly even as far as India. Legends such as the Queen of Sheba visiting Solomon support the idea of a far-reaching and influential kingdom. Some scholars suggest his control of copper and iron trade routes gave him immense economic power, helping explain his legendary wealth. Ancient copper mines in the Timna Valley, located in Israel's southern desert, have recently been re-examined. While initially thought to have belonged to the Egyptians, new evidence suggests they may have been active during Solomon's reign and operated under the control of the Israelites. These mines could have been a critical source of wealth and materials for Solomon's construction projects, including the temple. Other sites across Israel have begun to show signs of central authority and advanced infrastructure dating to the 10th century BC, supporting the idea of a powerful, centralized kingdom under Solomon, as described in the Bible. These findings are shifting scholarly opinion, which for decades leaned toward the minimalist view, that Solomon was a tribal chief with exaggerated fame rather than a great monarch. But discoveries like those in the city of David, Timna, and the Ophel area are forcing a rethinking of history. And what of Solomon's tomb? Many believe that if his burial chamber is ever definitively found, it could hold priceless insight, not just artifacts, but symbolic power. Tombs in the ancient Near East were often filled with personal items, ceremonial goods, and inscriptions detailing the accomplishments of the deceased. In Egypt, the tombs of pharaohs like Tutankhamun yielded immense treasures and helped us understand entire civilizations. The same could be true of Solomon. His tomb, if intact, might contain ancient scrolls, royal regalia, and religious artifacts, including possibly even items related to the temple rituals. Yet, the likelihood of finding an untouched tomb is slim. Jerusalem has been conquered, destroyed, rebuilt, and inhabited for over 3 millennia. Earthquakes, fires, invasions, and religious upheaval have wiped clean many traces of the past. And with the Temple Mount off-limits to archaeological digs due to its religious significance, many potential sites remain unexplored. This leads us to one of the greatest archaeological dilemmas in the world. How do we study ancient Jerusalem while respecting modern-day religious and political realities? Excavations in areas like the City of David and the Eiffel have made progress, but they often spark controversy. Some critics argue that the digs are politically motivated, aiming to bolster Jewish historical claims. Others point to the professionalism and scientific rigor of the excavations, emphasizing their global importance. It's a delicate balance between uncovering history and navigating present-day sensitivities. Meanwhile, a whole field of biblical archaeology thrives at this intersection of faith and science. Scholars sift through ancient ruins, study pottery shards, and translate inscriptions to piece together the past. They must remain both skeptical and open-minded, able to question long-standing beliefs while still entertaining the possibility that ancient texts may contain kernels of truth. One fascinating theory suggests that Solomon's tomb may lie beneath the Temple Mount itself. According to ancient Jewish writings and later Islamic traditions, a series of subterranean chambers exist below the mount, some possibly dating back to the First Temple period. These underground vaults have never been fully mapped or explored, and access to them is tightly controlled. Could Solomon's tomb be hidden somewhere in these dark corridors? The idea is tantalizing, but until access is granted and research is permitted, it remains a matter of speculation. Technology may help solve some of these mysteries. Ground-penetrating radar, satellite imagery, and advanced 3D scanning techniques can detect anomalies and underground structures without disturbing the surface. Such tools have been used with great success in Egypt, Mexico, and even Stonehenge. Perhaps one day they will allow archaeologists to probe deeper beneath Jerusalem's sacred soil. Of course, not everyone supports the idea of digging into Solomon's legacy. Some religious communities fear that excavations could desecrate holy sites. Others worry about the implications of finding, or not finding, evidence that supports biblical claims. The discovery of a tomb could validate centuries of belief or challenge deeply held assumptions. Either way, it would reshape how we understand history, scripture, and identity. What we do know is this: King Solomon remains a towering figure whose story transcends religious boundaries. Revered in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, his name is synonymous with wisdom, power, and mystery. Whether remembered as a prophet, monarch, or philosopher, Solomon represents the eternal quest for knowledge, justice, and connection to the divine. Today, visitors to Jerusalem walk through streets where Solomon may have once ridden in golden chariots. They pray at the Western Wall, a surviving remnant of the later Second Temple. They visit the City of David, where stone walls whisper secrets of a kingdom long past. And they peer into Zedekiah's cave, wondering if it once echoed with the footsteps of fleeing kings or secretive builders of the temple.